Hello everyone and Happy New Year. It's still technically the 31st as I'm recording it. I'm literally recording it before going out to party. So this is going to be the fastest video I will ever record on my channel. And I just wanted to wish you a Happy New Year, obviously. And I hope you will enjoy this video. And I'm just kind of excited about the stories we have for today, because we're going to read some Reddit stories. And one of them is one that I shared with you on Twitter a couple of months ago. And it went viral because everyone was pretty shocked by the unhingedness of this story, if I may say. And so let's just get started then. And by the way, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment on this video, as this is the best way to help me grow my channel. Thank you very much. So first story. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate that speaking a language is not a personality and she needs a new one? I, female 19, am in my first year of college living with a roommate, Katie, female 19. Katie speaks 3 languages, English, German and Spanish, and she makes it her whole personality. I'm already not. This one is kind of bad. Whenever I ask what she's watching something in another language. So obviously I can't watch it. She's always listening to music on her headphones, and when I try to bond and listen to what she's listening, it's in another language again, and I couldn't stand it. Her friends all speak one of the languages she does, and whenever I hear them, I can't join the conversation because they're mixing everything, so I'm left out of their convo. The other day, I saw she had a new book on her desk, Portuguese course book. I asked her about this and she said she's taking private Portuguese classes starting February. I told her she has to let it go, that she needs to develop her personality because speaking a language isn't a personality trait and she's just boring. She got really annoyed with me, understandably, and told me I'm an asshole and to stop eavesdropping on her convos. I told her she's boring and has to fake a personality. Now she's not speaking to me. My friends are split. Some agree with me and some agree with her. Am I the asshole for telling the truth? Alright, so this story is pretty crazy. Without a doubt, OP is an asshole. Like, this is just, it's giving me essentially jealousy, bitterness, American monolingual speaker vibes, really. It's just kind of weird for someone to be like, oh, I hate your hobby, you're so boring, you don't have a personality, and I'm just like, I don't know how she jumped to that conclusion that speaking different languages is a personality trait. It just seems like it's a hobby. So it's just really bizarre. I understand why Katie was really upset by OP's reaction, and I would be like, what the girl? Like, what's wrong with you? Let me just enjoy my life and learn the languages that I want to learn. So weird. And I feel like if she feels excluded, there's subtitles. You can enjoy music without understanding the lyrics. Or you can just look them up if you really enjoy a song. I don't know, I grew up, as a native French and Portuguese speaker, listening to a lot of English music, and I didn't always understand the words, and that was fine. I could still dance to it and enjoy them. So that's a bit weird. As for TV shows and things like that, there's always subtitles. Come on, it's 2023. I don't know when this was sent, 11 months ago, so that was still 2023. There's subtitles, very easily available, so I don't know. And as for her hanging out with people that speak non-English languages, then she doesn't have to be part of the group. Like, it's just strange. She should just find her own friends. Anyway, let's go through some of the comments and see what people think. First one, you're the asshole. Jealousy is not a personality either. And someone says, neither is xenophobia. Yeah, right on. You're the asshole. She has a personality, she has friends, interests, and hobbies. Just because you don't like her music or can't keep up with her friends doesn't mean those things don't count. It just makes you sound jealous and judgy. Yeah, absolutely. Another one, you're the asshole, 100%. Your roommate has an interest and is engaging with it and with people who share that interest. There's nothing stopping you from also enjoying movies in another language. You could have asked her to turn on the subtitles. Between the two of you, you sound like the boring one, to be honest. You're lurking around your roommate, judging her for having interests that don't involve you, and then were needlessly nasty to her because you can't speak the same languages she does. One of you definitely needs to work on her personality, but spoiler, it's not your roommate. I think that just sums it up, to be honest. Yeah, someone says, OP wants to make America great again. Love that. I don't mean to bash the US, but I'm assuming the OP is American, and a lot of people sort of caught on on that vibe. So yeah. What do you think? What would be your reaction in this situation? I don't know, but that's pretty insane. All right, moving along to the second story. So, am I the asshole for asking my new coworker how he managed to learn French so well? So this one is interesting because it sounds like you wouldn't be the asshole in that case because, you know, you're just complimenting someone on their French. But let's keep on reading. I, 41 male, work for an IT company in Montreal, Canada, which is in Quebec, a French-speaking province in Canada. We recently had a new coworker join us and he has an Indian-sounding name but speaks good French. Most Indians I have met here do not speak French and have a bad accent when they speak English, besides the few who were born here. Just as a side note, I don't endorse the way OP is phrasing things. I don't like that he's saying, they have a bad accent. I don't like the idea of having a bad accent. I think it's not... it's very problematic, to say the least. I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. You know, there is no bad accents. There's just accents, and we make judgments based on these accents. I would separate the two. Anyway, let's carry on. It's not a linguistics video. This co-worker was speaking French very fluently, and he had mentioned he was not born here. His French sounded very similar to how people in France speak, but he had adapted to Quebec vocabulary, because there's a difference in the two varieties of French. We had a team lunch the other day, and I asked him how he managed to learn French so well, and was curious about how he managed to learn French with a France accent while living here. He seemed a little annoyed, but answered that he's French and was born in a department of France called Réunion, which is an island, and also lived in France for 2 years. So the guy is just French. What? Okay, I looked it up as I had never heard of it, but apparently it is a place France colonized and some of the population is Indian and brought from old French colonies in India and Africa. He has been acting differently with me ever since I asked. Am I the asshole? I feel like it was logical for me to assume that he was likely from India, and a genuine curiosity to have as to how he learned French so well and fast with an accent from another country. Alright, again, quite a lot to unpack here. I see a few problems. So first of all, OP seems to be quite judgmental about Indian people speaking French, which is really racist, in my opinion, or at least the way it's presented in the story. And instead of saying he sounds native, he just said he had a French accent, so kind of discrediting the fact that his French is just like native, I guess, which is a bit bizarre. But that kind of reminds me of conversations I have with friends, especially those who visit Paris, when they ask me, you know, how do you know when someone is from France or whatever? And the truth is, you don't know. Someone can be black and be French. Someone can look white and not be from France. And, you never know. Like, there's no real way to know. I mean, especially in Paris, which is super multicultural, and just France in general, there's many, many cities where there's a lot of immigrants or people coming from immigrant families, me literally. So I would never assume someone is not French unless it's really clear in the way they speak, like they have clearly a non-native accent. But even then, that can kind of be tricky. So if I'm 100% sure about the accent, like it's definitely non-native, or they make lots of mistakes that don't sound native, I maybe wouldn't ask them where they're from, but maybe I would say, oh, have you been in Paris for long? Or do you work here in Paris? Or I don't know, it depends on the context. Maybe I don't know where if they're traveling, or if it's a party where I don't know the person. It can be like, are you visiting? Are you working here? Like that can be way more subtle. And usually people will tell you, or instead of just asking them, where are you from? Especially if it's people of color. I have lots of friends that tell me that when people ask them that, it's kind of like seen as a microaggression, because it's like, oh, you're not white, so you must not be from here, when they very much are from here in some cases. So that's kind of a question to avoid, I guess. So let's have a look at the answers. This one didn't get a lot of traction, but there's a few answers. You're the asshole. This might come as a shock to you, but race is not actually an indicator of one's ability to study and become well-versed in other languages. Exactly. Another one, you're the asshole. You assumed he was born in India based solely on the way he looked. There are so many other ways you could have had this conversation. So, where are you from? Would have easily opened the conversation for him being born in Réunion without the stereotyping. This question would also be absolutely appropriate for a new employee coming into your team. You should apologize for insensitive comment. I feel like this question depends on the context and how it's kind of brought about. If it's the first thing you ask, that could be, as I said, kind of abrupt or seen as microaggression. But yeah, that's definitely a better question than what he asked anyway, if he had to choose between one or the other. And OP answered, there are some second generation who are born here, but they tend to have a local accent. But I already knew he was an immigrant since he mentioned moving to Canada a few years ago. So I guess he should have just said, where do you come from then, if you wanted to know, I guess, like, where do you immigrate from? Or where were you before? What did you work as before? I don't know, something even more subtle like that could work. So that's surprising. Another comment, you're the asshole, and they quote, have a bad accent when they speak English. I did pick up on that as well. What's bad about their accent? And then with a magnifying glass emoji. Do you think you would have asked a white person how they learned to speak French so well? The so well is what tips you into asshole here. If you had just said French, I guess instead of French so well, this wouldn't be that bad, but I can see how someone would read this as you having prejudged them as not being able to learn a language. Sounds like you might have some unconscious racial bias issues going on here. I agree. You're the asshole. This comment is a bit more, let's say, straightforward. So you asked a French guy who was born in France and lived in France most of his life how he learned French because his skin color didn't match your idea of what a French person looks like. And he quotes, most Indians I have met here do not speak French, end of quote. He's not Indian, he's French, and you're a racist. The confirmation of that is in the comments where you keep calling him Indian or comparing him to other Indians, despite him telling you he was born from France. Also, where you say that you usually only socialize with the locals is telling a very sad story. That's a very good point, actually. Like, dude, just mix with other people, not just white people. It's so strange. Yeah, I can see how that's an awkward situation. But yeah, definitely the asshole. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you to it because my friends are going to come literally in 5 minutes. This is dedication, guys, to making a video, the last one of the year. And I hope you enjoyed the stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed this video. And you can also give your opinion and judge the stories like I did. And I will see you very soon. Bye.